Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Our teacher for this week is Gary Zukov. And I have a longer than usual message to get through, so let's get right into it. Walt Whitman once wrote, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then. I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes." Whitman encapsulates this truth beautifully. Each of us is a universe unto ourselves, containing a multitude of thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that often contradict each other in harmonious dissonance. We can feel confident and insecure simultaneously, love deeply while also harboring resentment, or desire change while clinging to familiar patterns. This internal complexity is not chaos. It is the rich tapestry of human experience. Sunmari, good morning. It's awesome seeing you. Hello. Over time, some of our thoughts and feelings become grouped together as a repeated inner narrative, each associated with the same emotional response playing out over and over again. These patterns become hardwired elements of our personality, creating what feels like automatic responses to life's situations. We all tend to have several of these narrative patterns that play out old stories, like recordings from the past. Hey Charlene, good morning, happy Wednesday. The challenge lies in how these different parts of our personality can become triggered before we realize it. We might be completely unaware of how we are at the mercy of different narratives and emotions from moment to moment, reacting from unconscious patterns rather than conscious choice. Our work then is to build an awareness of how our inner state shifts so that we create for ourselves the space in which we are able to say, I choose a new response to these old thoughts and feelings. So a few thoughts from Gary Zukov. He says, the journey to wholeness requires that you look honestly, openly, and with courage into yourself, into the dynamics that lie behind what you feel, what you perceive, what you value, and how you act. He says, the first step towards spiritual growth is to become aware of your emotions, having the awareness that observes how emotions rise and then again fall. He says, when you welcome your emotions as messengers, every emotion brings good news, even the ones that are painful. And then he says, choosing to act from a loving part of your personality. And we've already said that we have these multiple facets to our personality. Choosing to act from a loving part of your personality while you're feeling the painful sensations of a frightened part of your personality. This is the moment of traction on the spiritual path. Being able to experience a painful part of our personality and still act from one of the loving parts. He calls that the moment of traction on the spiritual path. I think it's beautifully said. Hey Anthony, good morning. So good to see you. The first step on our journey of personal growth is to become aware of our emotions. By welcoming our emotions, even the painful ones, we can learn to extract wisdom from how our emotions move. When we embrace our emotions as messengers, we can begin to see beyond the surface and uncover the deeper narratives that drive our behavior. This awareness empowers us to make conscious choices, to act from a loving part of ourselves even when we are experiencing pain. And this is the real magic. Welcoming our emotions with open arms means that we can create a new relationship with everything that we think and feel. Instead of being controlled by our emotional state, we can learn to act from love and wisdom regardless of what it is that we think and feel. Our meditation today is called a sense of self, an opportunity to invite those different elements of our personality. We could call them inner children for this exercise. An opportunity to invite those inner children to come and sit with us for a while so we can learn to listen, see what's there, have a conversation. So if you're ready, you can close your eyes and we'll float away together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and even drop your head. Today's meditation, a sense of self, is an opportunity to invite our inner children to come and sit for a moment. Let's have a conversation. Let's learn how to listen to what's there. In today's example, I will use guilt as a part of us that we sometimes experience, may have experienced in the past. Shame could be one of these inner children, a part of us that sometimes feels ashamed of something, perhaps something we did wrong, or that we think we did wrong. And then fear, part of us that sometimes feels scared. And I include fear every time because all of these parts are really a reaction to fear. So call those inner children closer. In my mind, this always looks a little bit like the grade 1 teacher sitting on the carpet and asking the kids to come and sit with her. We're inviting guilt, shame, and fear to come and sit with us today. And of course, you're welcome to use different examples depending on what exactly it is that you're dealing with at the moment. As we invite these inner children closer, I want to read the very first quote from today. That's Walt Whitman that says, "Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes." The acknowledgement that this is what it is to be human. We contain different parts of ourself in the larger system that is ourself. And we can learn to consolidate these different parts of ourself into one bigger wholeness. But only when we stop fighting, stop declaring war against these parts, and find a new way to allow them to exist. So once again, guilt, shame, and fear. I might ask a few more times that you open yourself to the possibility of seeing what this part of you might look like. It's not important that you have to have an image of this part, but it helps to be open to seeing what would guilt look like. If you were talking to that voice, the voice of guilt, what would that look like? And the same for shame and for fear. What would those parts of you look like? We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles forward and to the left, forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. See if you're able to tilt your head to the left and tilt your hips to the right, curving your spine into an S from your head down to your tailbone. Then could you change sides? Could you tilt your head to the right and your hips to the left? One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least becoming as present as we possibly can be right now, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. With every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a good place to stop. But if you are here for the whole journey, we'll take the next few big breaths together. Let's take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a long, slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel how softness slips into your body. Feel how softness settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. And feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath. But hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, the reminder is that our journey today is about these three inner children. Guilt, shame, and fear is who we invited today. And again, you're welcome to use different parts of you if that's what you feel you're dealing with right now. So as you take your next big breath, dive deep into you, take a look at these three inner children. See what guilt might look like, shame and fear too, and let them know that we are here to listen. We are here to learn, to understand. Take your next big breath. We'll turn our attention first to guilt. A part of you that perhaps has in the past felt guilty of something. Sometimes we did have an experience that made us feel guilty, but other times we might have done nothing wrong, but guilt was imprinted on us at a really young age. Whichever it is not really important. What is important is to learn how to open our arms to every part of our personality. So as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, turn towards guilt and ask guilt to speak. And the simple way of doing this is remind yourself of what it feels like when that part of you is triggered, when you feel guilty. What are the thoughts, the feelings that go through you when guilt is your dominant emotion? What do you say to yourself in your mind over and over again when you feel that guilt? And for the moment, just listen to that once again. Take your next big breath. For the moment, we're not trying to change guilt or fix guilt. We're becoming better at listening, at holding that space without becoming overwhelmed. Because often our overwhelm comes from our resistance to this thing we're feeling. And very often when we become open to just feeling this thing, then the overwhelm becomes less. So we'll continue our conversation with guilt by asking guilt a question. And just imagine that this was really an inner child you're speaking to, and you can ask a question and see what it says. Here's the question to ask guilt. And just be curious about what might come from inside of you when you ask this question. Look at guilt As you take your next big breath and ask the question, say, hey, little one, guilt. In those moments when you feel so guilty, when you think about the thing that makes you feel guilty, what is it that you're afraid is going to happen? What is this thing that you're dreading? What are you afraid will happen? Now take your next big breath and just listen. Take a moment to thank guilt, to have gratitude for the fact that guilt was able to speak, be seen and be heard. It takes courage, so thank you, guilt. We'll turn our attention now to shame, a part of us that perhaps sometimes experiences shame. And once again, there's such a combination of things that might cause this. Sometimes, perhaps long ago, we did something that we feel ashamed about. But also, shame gets imprinted on us from an early age. Very often, the things we feel ashamed about are just not really that bad or something that we did wrong. But for the moment, that's not the conversation we're having. We're just listening. We're just allowing shame to speak, and we are becoming better at listening without becoming overwhelmed. So as you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, check in with shame. See if you can see what that part of you looks like. And then remind yourself in those moments when shame rises in you, how does that feel? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings, your emotions when shame is triggered in you? What is it that you say to yourself over and over in your mind? Take your next big breath. We'll continue our conversation with shame one more time. This time, we want to ask that part a question and allow it to speak some more. Take a look at this part of you, the part of you that feels shame, and say, shame, in those moments when you feel so ashamed, what is the thing that you really wanted to be different? Or how is it that you wanted things to be different? And then just listen to what shame has to say. Take your next big breath. Take a moment to say thank you to shame. Thank you for being here, for being seen, for being heard. It's a brave thing to do. And then we'll turn our attention to fear, the part of you that perhaps sometimes feels scared. And for the moment, we're just asking fear to speak. And we become better at listening to fear speak without becoming overwhelmed ourselves. So for the moment, remind yourself when you feel scared, when fear is triggered, what does that feel like? What are your thoughts and your emotions in that moment? And especially pay attention to the things that you say to yourself over and over again while you feel scared. What are those things? Take your next big breath. We'll extend our conversation with fear one more time. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, turn towards fear. Try and see this part of you, and then ask this question. Say, fear, in those moments when you feel scared, what is it that you really want for me? What is your deep desire for me? Take your next big breath and listen. Take a moment to thank fear for being seen, for being heard, for having the courage to speak. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, slipping out of the breath-holding space and into the next. Have these inner children be wherever it is that they want to be. Perhaps they'd like to move closer and sit right up against you. Perhaps they'd like to crawl into your lap and sit on top of you. Perhaps they'd like to crawl all the way inside of you. Or perhaps, like inner children, they'd like to go off and play somewhere. Let them be wherever it is that they want to be. As we take the next few big breaths, take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a long, slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel how softness slips in and settles in every cell of your body. Lead your body to softness. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can just sit back or lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. We'll have a quick conversation about this exercise and exercises like this. Taking the moment to have our inner children speak and we are listening. The empowerment comes from who is doing the listening. If guilt is speaking and I'm listening to what it says, who is doing the listening? If I'm doing the listening, then I can't be guilt in this moment, and I can't be shame in this moment, and I can't be fear in this moment. This is an important exercise because there are moments where without realizing we have become triggered and we have completely embodied guilt or shame or fear in that moment. This is of course a normal human experience, but this exercise gives us the opportunity to unblend from that narrative. Take a step back from it and listen. And the better I become at listening, the more I become this listener. And when I am this listener, the next time when fear gets triggered, perhaps I don't jump in and fully embody this fear. Perhaps the next time that fear becomes triggered, I go, hang on a moment, I've seen this before. Let me listen to what's there. What do I grow into when I become more of this listener, the observer, the witness? I grow into the strongest part of me, the part of me with arms strong enough to hold all of these parts. The part of me that is strong enough to form a new relationship with these triggers, these narratives, these messengers, really. I'll read to you one more time Gary Zukav's words that speak to this, and perhaps I'll just read Walt Whitman one more time too. From Walt Whitman, there's just the acknowledgement that this is a part of our human experience. He says, do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. This is the human condition. Gary Zukav says, the journey to wholeness requires that you look honestly, openly, and with courage into yourself, just the way we did. Being able to let guilt speak and shame speak and listen to what's there. Gary Zukav says, the first step towards spiritual growth is to become aware of your emotions. Once again, just like we did in this exercise, becoming aware of the emotions that are there. Because with more awareness, we might become a little bit better at not fully embodying that emotion when it's triggered, but take a moment to just see it, listen to it. Gary Zukav reminds us that when you welcome your emotions as messengers, then every emotion brings good news, even the ones that are painful. When we ask the question to these parts of ourselves, what is it you're afraid will happen? What is it that you really want for me? What is the thing that you're trying to stop? Then we realize all of these parts bring a message. And all of these messages can be informative. We can make better decisions when we understand the message. And then the last thought from Gary Zukav for today says, choosing to act from the loving part of your personality while you are feeling the painful sensations of a frightened part. This is the moment of traction on your spiritual path. This is the moment where things start to change. When I can listen to a scared part speak, an angry part, a guilty part, a shameful part, and still choose to act from the loving part. This is when things really start to change. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to listen to these inner children, how to listen to what they have to say. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning to see these inner children as messengers. Each is, to some degree, trying to be helpful, trying to serve a purpose. And I can get better at learning what that message is. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning that we don't have to put the messenger behind the wheel. We don't have to let that inner child pull the strings and choose our actions for us. We can listen to the message and then still choose from wisdom how we want to act. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to listen to scared parts without being overwhelmed by the emotion itself. Learning how to be the listener, the observer, the witness. How to be the wisest part of me. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for inviting your inner children along on a play date, I guess. Pepe, good evening. It's awesome seeing you pop in. Hello. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Sunmurray. Thank you, Charlene. Wishing you all a beautiful day. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.